Granted, her world is falling apart. I think anger would work well here. I mean, is that just not the absolute dream? It is August 17th today, it is Monday, and I am supposed to have my writing day today. And I will. I have a problem in one of my stories, in Estre, that I am stuck. And I appear to have been stuck for over 2 weeks in the same place. Basically, my main character, at least in her view, was just betrayed by her best friend. And I'm trying to write her reaction to this betrayal. The problem is that we have seen this from the best friend's perspective as well, so we know what he was thinking, we know how he was sort of forced into doing this, and we've just seen how much he's struggled with this already, and so whenever I try to write her reaction, it just doesn't feel right. It feels like when I was writing her as being all like, oh no, how could he do this? My whole world has fallen apart, which granted her world is falling apart in all the ways, but since I know and since the reader will know what he's been going through, I'm just kind of feeling like, well, just get over yourself. This is not the worst thing that's happened to you lately. And I can still understand her reaction, but I'm not feeling sympathetic towards it, really. And so, yeah, I just don't like her when I write her like that. And I want to like her because I want the reader to like her. I tried changing it up so that instead of being sad and hurt, she was angry, which worked a little better, but still wasn't great. And so I've kind of just been avoiding writing this for a while, and yeah, I've been avoiding starting this writing day because I don't want to go back to that because it's just so difficult. But that is why I'm filming now. I am filming so that I can keep myself accountable in front of the camera, and I am filming so that hopefully at the end of this video I will have shown you how I dealt with this. Right now I have no idea how I'm going to deal with this, but hopefully I'll figure it out, and if I do, I will share it with you. Okay, so where I'm at right now is that the betrayal happened, and then immediately after, Estri and another character left, so she never had a chance to confront her friend about this betrayal. After that, we had a scene with the friend, scene from the friend's perspective, where he was sort of feeling horrible about this and also being really worried about Estri and also having to keep a huge secret from another character, so he was dealing with a bunch of things as well. And then we're going back to Estri. And at first I tried writing a scene where she was sitting in the carriage. She was sitting in the carriage and just sort of thinking and wallowing and being sad and feeling betrayed and all of that. All understandable feelings, but I think it felt a little bit like we'd already seen him wallow and then we saw her do it, and I think it just felt a little bit... It felt too much. Again, both of them understandable that they would feel that way, but I don't think that it was really something that I wanted to... it wasn't something that I would have wanted to read. So then what I tried to do was writing a scene where the carriage had gotten to its destination and Estri had she was distracted by new people in a new place, but that also didn't work because I couldn't really get her to pay attention to the new place and the new people, and she just wanted to think about how horrible everything was, which again, understandable, but again, not what I wanted. So then I tried writing a scene where she was angry, because she would have been angry eventually, and that anger it's not really an emotion that we've seen a lot in this book yet, so I figured maybe that would shake things up a bit, and that worked better, but it didn't work great. So now what I'm thinking is that I'm going to try to do a time skip, and I'm going to write from Esther's perspective, like the day after or so, when she is in this new place and new environment. It's not the first time she's seeing things here, but it's still new to her, and she can go and explore that at the same time as she's thinking about the betrayal. And that way it won't be just her wallowing, and it will be her maybe being angry. Maybe that is the emotion that she ended up on, sort of. I hope it'll be. I want it to be, because I think anger would work well here. But I want that at the same time as she's doing something else and focusing on something else, and focusing on something that will bring the story forward, and that has an impact in all of the other things that are happening in her life right now. So, yeah, I'm gonna give that a try, and I will let you know how it feels. Speaking of time skips, it's now a couple of days later because Monday got very late to film. So I tried the time skip thing in the story, and the problem was that to be able to do that, I had to know what actually happened when the carriage arrived, where they arrived, and when I started having Esther think about what happened the day before, two things happened. The first thing was that I realized that they are in a lot bigger a time crunch than I thought. They do not have as much time as they wanted, but that's a given. They didn't have as much time as I thought they were gonna have. So that was a problem. And number two, once I had Esther actually thinking about that, what happened the day after when she's calmed down a little bit, the scene started coming together, and I ended up actually writing the scene just as the carriage arrived at its destination, which didn't work before, but suddenly it worked now when I let the character be a little bit more removed from it, I guess. So that's pretty cool. What I need to do now, though, is add some emotions from Esther for the first, 2 pages or so, before she completely snaps at the mentor figure and tells her to stop withholding information. That was a really cool character moment, actually. Esther is the daughter of diplomats, and it turns out that she's learned a lot from her parents, both in being stern when she needs to be and getting the information she needs in order to make an informed decision, and also just realizing when people are withholding information and knowing how bad that can be. That's sort of a pet peeve of mine, where things only go wrong in the story because the main character doesn't have all the information, because the mentor or whoever else is supposed to give them information has more information, just doesn't tell them for some reason or another. Hello, the entire Harry Potter series. Whole lot of other series as well, but that was just the one that popped into my mind. So I'm trying to not do that in my stories. I'm trying to make sure that if there is a reasonable way that the character could have this information, they're gonna have this information. People are not going to withhold information from each other without a really, really good reason. So now I have Esther here actually demanding all the information that her mentor hasn't given to her. In this case, the mentor hasn't given it to her because she's a bit stressed. She was a bit confused when things started happening. The mentor, that is, she wasn't ready for things to happen now, for who Esther was, for who she needed to give this information to. And she also doesn't have as much information as Esther thinks, so there's that as well. Anyway, it did end up working great. Again, I wrote the scene as they arrive at their destination, which didn't work at first, but then it did once I started thinking about it in the bigger picture, I think. I think I needed to think of it just not as that scene, but where does that scene actually lead? This is one of the problems with the fact that I don't really have an outline for Esther, which is something I should probably make, but that is in the future sometime. Because right now, not right this moment, but right now in the story, I'm about to describe the magical archive for the first time, and I am super excited. For those of you who don't know, I'm an archivist. I am really geeky about archive stuff. Archives are absolutely amazing. They're the best places in the world. And now I get to design one that is not only made by magic, but made to contain magic. And I mean, is that just not the absolute dream. How exactly that goes, I am sure you will find out in an upcoming video. Until then, here are some videos to entertain you. Give this video a like if you liked it, and subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the bell so you don't miss upcoming videos. Take care, and I will see you next time.